Are you an event host or organizer or a planner and you're nervous about something going wrong at your next event? Well, I'm going to break down the right way to react when something goes wrong, and I will briefly touch on the wrong way to react when something goes wrong at your event. So stick around. I'm Logan Clements, and I do want to remind you to like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. I also have a podcast with fellow event planner Mary Davidson called the Better Events Podcast. So if you want even more free tips and tricks about event planning and lessons learned, we have some guests on every so often, and it is a great just kind of mind meld for anyone in the event industry. So give it a listen wherever you listen to podcasts. But let's get back into it. So one of my favorite things about being an event producer is that we always have a plan for everything, and also that things won't always go according to plan. I always joke that if everything went 100% according to plan, my job would probably be very boring. That's not saying that I wish things to go wrong at your next event, but just know that this is when event professionals get to shine, when things go wrong. And so I'm going to break down what my biggest tip to my speakers, to my clients, to my event hosts about what to do when something goes wrong. Especially, we'll talk through it in the virtual lens right now. I actually am going to change it up. I want to talk about what not to do before I tell you what to do, just because I think that helps us end on a high note. But essentially, something goes wrong at your event. Let's say it's a virtual event, so something happens to your stream crashes, or a speaker's on mute and you can't understand them, or something glitchy happens on your website. What not to do is to clam up, to get quiet, to completely ignore that anything just happened. This is an especially an important tip for anything that is noticeable to attendees. If you work at events, you know there are a lot of things that happen at events that go wrong that attendees would never notice, and that's fine. You don't have to own up to all the small stuff. But I'm talking about if something big happens, it's noticeable, it's in your face, we can't hide it up, and the wrong way to respond to that moment is to ignore it, to cover it up, to shirk responsibility, to do nothing. And unfortunately, I've done a couple events where this has been the response by some people, and all you do is create more tension or awkwardness because attendees are not stupid. They know that something has happened. And so, let's go to the good side. The best way to respond when something doesn't go according to your plan is to own it. Just own up to it. And if it's something that's as much as a little tiny glitch on your stream, having your event host make a little joke about it because we've all experienced it. Or it's something in the chat. Or if it's something even more monumental like your whole site crashing, sending out a lighthearted email but sincere email to all of your attendees letting them know what the plan is. Are you going to restart later? You need to communicate though. The biggest thing you'll find is if you meet that moment with silence, you're going to lose people. We are often very forgiving in this virtual world. Everyone's still figuring it out, especially when we first started. But even now, I found attendees are pretty forgiving to things not going according to plan, as long as you as the event host, organizer, or speaker just own it and continue to move forward. We all know that term, the show must go on. And so I found it so helpful to brief your speakers ahead of your event of what to do if there's a technical issue. And technical issue is such a big term, but I will say everything from the speaker having an internet issue on their end to the platform or the streaming solution, or if you're using Zoom, whatever it is, prep them so they know what to do. Because when things go wrong, people will panic. But if you've talked about what you will do if those things go wrong ahead of time, it helps reduce that panic a little bit. So if you find yourself doing a virtual event and something goes wrong, just remember, smile, own up to it, be honest. And if you're someone on the tech side of things like I am, often I'll take ownership. If it was something that I could have avoided or something that I should have checked, I will own up to it, because you can always learn and you can always benefit moving forward, whether working with that same client again on that same event or just future events. Because you'll see in my videos over and over, I talk so much about how you don't know what you don't know. And Zoom, there's a lot of things you don't know don't work until you try it, and they don't. So that's the silver lining, that things will go wrong, and when they do, it is an opportunity for you to learn. But just remember, silence is not the answer. Own up to it, make it lighthearted, make it serious, whatever feels on brand for you. But then you'll be setting yourself up for success in the long run, because I've seen it time and time again, things happen. There was a speaker muted during the Emmys, I think, had a speaker on mute. It happens to everyone, but just take it on the chin, say it with a smile, and move on. So hopefully that was helpful with a very stressful situation for a lot of planners of what to do when things go wrong. But I'm Logan Clements, freelance event producer, and this has been another installment of my favorite tips and tricks when it comes to event planning, virtual events, Zoom, running your own business. I drop new videos every single Monday, so don't forget to like, subscribe, so you get notified every single week when I get a new video out. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, folks. Bye!